Do you eat some peanut butter or something?
Yeah, you sound like a dog with peanut butter on the roof of your mouth.
Believe it or not, mundane-looking foods could be plotting against you. So, to stay alert, here are more of the top 20 foods that can literally kill you. Part 2.
No. That is not food. Don't do that again.
Chicken.
George likes his chicken spicy.
This also shouldn't come as a shock. When you eat chicken, it needs to be well cooked, at least if you don't want to get sick. Poultry often serves as a source for all kinds of food poisoning, the most notable ones being Salmonella and Campylobacter. In order to get rid of those bacteria, you need to cook your chicken at a minimum of 165 degrees. In Japan, however, there is such a thing as raw chicken sashimi, and it's quite popular.
Nothing but a little chicken.
Nonetheless, eating raw chicken is not recommended and is considered one of the main causes of many foodborne illnesses. Blood clams.
In that case, sir, may I advise against the lady eating the clam chowder? No clam chowder, thank you.
Seafood enthusiasts, this one's for you. Or not, actually. Cultured everywhere from South Africa to northern Japan, blood clams aren't exactly the friendliest clams you'll ever meet.
Clam. Sorry, sir.
Since they live in low-oxygen environments, it makes them more likely to absorb an array of harmful viruses and bacteria like hepatitis A, typhoid, and dysentery. Restaurants usually boil the clams until most of the microbes are gone, but ultimately, it's impossible to get rid of all of the nastiness. Your best bet? Just steer clear of blood clams. Tomatoes.
Tastes like cigarette butts. That's on.
Do you remember the time you found out tomatoes weren't a vegetable but a fruit? Well, today we're here to tell you that tomatoes could also potentially kill you. But don't worry just yet, it doesn't have anything to do with the actual red, juicy pulp and flesh. No, the risk comes from the stem and leaves of the tomato. They contain a poison called glycoalkaloid, known for causing upset stomachs, severe cramping, and anxiety, and can be toxic if eaten in large amounts. But as long as you steer clear of those, your tomato should be good to go.
I mean, for a product that's evil and deadly.
Eggs.
How many did you eat?
You've heard it once and you'll hear it again. Eating raw eggs is never a good idea. Yes, many people put them in their smoothies or down one as part of their morning routine, but it's not the safest of habits.
You're allergic to eggs.
Eggs are rich sources of protein and packed with nutrients when they're cooked. But raw, you have a greater chance of consuming harmful bacteria. About 1 in 20,000 eggs contains salmonella, which is pretty rare, but still not odds you want to mess with. To avoid fever, cramps, and all that jazz, just cook your eggs. Unpasteurized cheese.
Dangerously cheesy.
All kinds of cheese are good. Hard, soft, shredded, melted. We don't discriminate. The only kind of cheese we might have a problem with is the unpasteurized kind. These cheeses can be pretty dangerous for your health, especially for those who are pregnant. Unpasteurized cheese is the same as unpasteurized milk. It can carry various bacteria such as Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria, Campylobacter, and so many more foodborne illnesses. For safety reasons, the FDA banned unpasteurized cheese from being sold and exported.
I can ignore the cheese.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
not,
talk
I'm
about
sorry,
the
just do it.
This is why raw cheeses like Camembert aren't available in the US, and we only have the fake kind, which obviously cannot compare to the real thing. Processed meats.
Max Club sandwich. And heads up, I lost a Band-Aid.
Everybody loves a good sandwich, but because everything good has to have a bad side, processed meats aren't your best option. That's because they contain a lot of chemical compounds that are not present in fresh meat, and these can be very harmful to your health. Having a diet with a lot of processed meat products in it can increase your risk of chronic disease, especially cancer. In fact, bacon and other meats containing a lot of nitrites and nitrates have been linked to colon cancer. A little cold-cut sandwich here and there shouldn't hurt too much. Just make sure not to make this your everyday go-to sandwich filler.
You know what keeps going through my head? Where's my sandwich?
Peanuts.
I'm allergic to peanut butter.
Since when?
Birth.
Out of every allergy known to man, a peanut allergy has got to be one of the most common and deadliest of all. For some people with a peanut allergy, even the tiniest amount or trace of peanuts can cause a severe, life-threatening reaction, with the most extreme being anaphylaxis. Anaphylaxis can lead to significant constriction of the airways, shock, loss of consciousness, and, if left untreated, death.
That was a peanut butter sandwich. Are you not good with peanuts?
Milder symptoms include skin reactions, itching or tingling throat, and digestive problems. Whether the reaction is triggered by direct contact, cross-contamination, or inhalation, medical care should be sought immediately. Rice.
Snake, rice, wine.
Oh, that's disgusting. Wine made of rice?
What most people don't know about their favorite starchy food is that it can contain a concerning amount of arsenic. Surprisingly enough, the highest levels of the toxin are usually found in brown rice and the lowest in instant rice. Arsenic won't poison you all at once. It would be pretty hard to eat that much rice in a day, but it's in the long run that it can be harmful.
I'm pulling sides for the rice right now!
Consistent exposure can lead to heart disease and many cancers, so just beware of how much rice you eat. Lychee.
Lychees. Oh my God.
Lychee has become the ultimate fruit for summer, as well as the go-to flavor for treats for many people. And while more often than not it's perfectly safe to eat, there are some exceptions. They should never be eaten unless they are fully ripe. This is because they can be poisonous, even fatal sometimes, since the toxins can block the body's production of sugar. This can cause hypoglycemia and changes in brain function, fever, nausea, and convulsions, especially on an empty stomach.
Why did I eat 12 of them? Why?
As long as they are ripe and you are not fasting, lychees should be perfectly safe to eat. Tuna.
If I were a lion and you were a tuna, I would swim out in the middle of the ocean and freaking eat you!
Every sushi fanatic out there knows how tuna just hits different. It might be a guilty pleasure for many, but not everyone is aware of the dangers indulging in the fish can bring. It's not news that children and pregnant women should stay away from raw fish like tuna. But why exactly? It all has to do with the high risk of mercury poisoning.
We have reason to believe you have eaten poison.
Poison?
If mercury is ingested, it will act as a neurotoxin and could cause itching, pain, high blood pressure, and other dangerous symptoms. However, it's not only found in raw tuna, although it is the riskiest one. Canned tuna is often the most common source of mercury in people's diet. If tuna salad is your fave, you might want to switch things up a bit. Ackee.
One bite, what's the big deal? You don't eat the fruit.
Ackee or Ackee is a pinkish plant usually used to create some out-of-this-world dishes, like ackee and saltfish, Jamaica's national dish. However, this strange-looking ingredient should never be consumed before fully ripening. Being in the same family as lychee, unripe ackee contains toxic levels of hypoglycin A, which can result in seizures, hypoglycemia, and even death.
I've had issues with food in the past.
And while you're at it, stay away from the seeds as well. Ackee is so dangerous, it was banned in the US until 2005. Today, the FDA accepts some shipments, only they have to be very low in toxin levels. Casu Marzu.
You're eating maggots, how do they taste?
Cheese is usually a great, harmless addition to your meals. The key word here is usually. There are other times when cheese can be a little less wonderful and a little scary. That's exactly the case with Casu Marzu, a rare, illegal cheese from Sardinia. Also known as rotting cheese or maggot cheese, Casu Marzu is an old delicacy made from sheep's milk fermented with live fly larvae. If the ingredients weren't enough to turn you off, maybe this will.
It's sour. The aftertaste stays for hours.
The maggots sometimes survive in your intestine, which can lead to unwanted parasitic infestations and an array of unpleasant symptoms. Let's just leave it at that. Lima beans.
Oh, beans.
Beans in general are known to have many health benefits and to be a good addition to your diet. Most of the time they are, but that's assuming you know how to prepare them properly. Otherwise, it's just a catastrophe waiting to happen. Lima beans in particular need to be thoroughly cooked and drained in order to be safe for consumption. Lima beans contain a chemical compound called linamarin, which, when consumed and decomposed, can turn into hydrogen cyanide.
I've been poisoned.
Another highly toxic component that attacks the brain, the heart, the blood vessels, and the lungs. Just make sure they are always cooked to perfection. Better safe than sorry. Margarine.
I can't believe it's not butter.
While it seems like the perfect backup plan for when you don't want to consume all the fats found in butter, margarine isn't as innocent as it leads people to believe. Indeed, most margarine brands are extremely high in hydrogenated oils, which are full of trans fats. Trans fats have been associated with increasing the risk for several health issues, including heart disease, cancer, and other chronic conditions.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Even though it does pack some health-friendly nutrients, if we look at the big picture, the good doesn't outweigh the bad very often. Fruit seeds.
Whoa. Don't tell me you're thinking about eating the forbidden fruit.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Bad news for fruit lovers. They might not be as safe as you thought. At least not the ones that have seeds. So fruits like apples, peaches, pears, mangoes, cherries, and apricot could actually be the death of you thanks to their harmless-looking seeds.
How do you like them apples?
That's because they contain amygdalin, another compound that produces cyanide. If ingested in large quantity, it could lead to dizziness, vomiting, kidney failure, coma, and, well, death. Thankfully, though, you would need to eat an uncommonly absurd amount of seeds and pits to see any real reaction, but still. Bean sprouts. For a nice refreshing salad or a comforting stew, bean sprouts are the peak of versatile vegetables. While they can be enjoyed both raw and cooked, you need to be extra careful when you consume them right out of the bag. Just like with any other produce that's consumed raw or lightly cooked, sprouts are a stomping ground for foodborne illness, which is impossible to get rid of unless you cook them. The warm and moist conditions needed to grow sprouts put them in perfect conditions for the rapid growth of bacteria, including Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli.
Want some?
Over the years, many outbreaks, sometimes deadly, have been associated with bean sprouts, which is why it's best to eat them cooked. Starfruit.
What is this fruit called?
That's starfruit.
Starfruit, the colorful yellow fruit, is often used as an herbal remedy to treat many health problems. They help to reduce fevers, lower blood pressure, soothe headaches, and even relieve hangovers. However, these benefits are only good for certain people. If you happen to suffer from any type of kidney disease, you might want to avoid starfruit.
Why?
Because the substances found in it can affect the brain and cause serious neurological disorders. Those with healthy kidneys will process and pass this toxin from their bodies no problem. But with kidney disease, the toxin will simply stay in the body and lead to serious problems like confusion, seizures, and even death in some cases. Cassava.
Speaking of melons, there's a cassava with my name on it in there.
Not a lot of people know about cassava, and yet its popularity has drastically grown in the last few years. This is mostly thanks to the bubble tea craze that's been going around. Indeed, those little tapioca bobas at the bottom of your cup are made from cassava root. Cassava flour has also become a very popular gluten-free alternative.
Why does Frank keep a cassava melon in the safe?
I don't know, but he flips out if I go anywhere near the thing.
The only problem? The leaves and roots contain chemicals that can convert to cyanide in the body if not prepared properly. As we've seen before, cyanide poisoning can have some serious repercussions on the body and lead to certain paralysis conditions. Cassava needs to be peeled and cooked thoroughly before it's consumed. Otherwise, you're looking at some significant damages. Elderberries.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
At first glance, elderberries might seem completely harmless, but don't be fooled. When they're not ripe, they might as well be swapped with the nightlock berries from the Hunger Games. Usually, elderberries can be quite helpful to boost your immune system as they are packed with vitamins and antioxidants and can even help relieve stress and protect your heart. That is, when they are cooked and ripe.
Okay.
Raw elderberries can cause nausea, vomiting, and all kinds of other symptoms. And that's not even considering the poisonous leaves, stems, and roots. So a piece of advice, always cook your berries before you eat them. Plus, cooking them apparently improves the taste. Castor oil.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What?
Nowadays, it feels like castor oil is used in everything, from soaps to plastic to food additives. You just can't escape the darn stuff. However, since castor oil comes from the castor bean plant, you should be careful about how much you ingest. It is loaded with ricin, a toxic enzyme that can cause nausea, cramps, dizziness, and muscle weakness. The heat applied during the oil extraction will usually deactivate the enzyme, but if left unheated, it's another story.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
Stay right here and tap or click another great video. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.